Good afternoon, everybody. Our presentation is actually a joint work contributed to by 3 different teams from the China Foreign Affairs University, Chinese University of Hong Kong, the National University of Singapore, and the University of Hong Kong. We are trying to address the disaster management and relief issues through the perspective of global governance. So a basic outline. So first is a background introduction, and following later on is a significance of research. And for the body of the presentation, basically we'll introducing 3 different approaches of global governance for disaster relief and management, which are institutional approach, regional approach, and compensation approach. And at the end of the presentation, we'll come up with a couple of takeaway points, basically as the conclusion of our joint work. Okay, so the background. I think although the human beings have already gained a lot of progress in both economic and social developments, however, our lives are still being threatened by natural disasters. So the number of natural disasters during the past almost, I think, 30 years, the number of natural disasters has actually increased significantly. So this is a graph showing the trend. It's obviously a remarkable increasing trend, okay? So, and among all the victims of natural disasters all over the world, Asia actually has almost 80% of the disaster victims here. Okay, so past lessons has taught us that poor governance always lead to ineffective prediction, relief and disaster disaster financing. Okay, so examples including those, you see, 2008 to 2004 Asian tsunami, and this year's Myanmar cyclone, and Hurricane Katrina, and so on and so forth. Okay, but on the other hand, good governance makes a real difference. Let's go back to Taiwan earthquake in 1999, and this year's China Sichuan earthquake. We can learn a lot of lessons. Okay, significance of research, why global governance is important. Actually, our inspiration was basically from the sharp contrast of Myanmar and China, the natural disasters, which happened, I think, a couple of months before. Okay, so the central idea of our research is actually trying to relate concepts and principles of global governance to disaster relief management. So a couple of principles of global governance will be highlighted in our presentation, which are preparedness, responsiveness, accountability, efficiency, effectiveness, transparency, and so on and so forth. Okay, so in the body of our presentation, we offer 3 disaster relief approaches, which are institutional approach, which examines the utility of predicting disasters, such as earthquakes, through the implementation of an incentive system. And the second approach, regional approach, which adopts a regional governmental approach to disaster management and seeks to enhance the disaster relief operations by providing capacity building and coordination as well. And the last approach, which calls compensation approach, trying to emphasize the creation of global disaster compensation model and to sustain the domestic relief efforts and the international aid, foreign aid. So if we see this circle, in the perspective of sequence, we can see that actually our 3 models, they are trying to address 3 problems like pre-disaster, pre- and post-disaster, and post-disaster, which is so this is actually an underlying logic which integrates our 3 projects together. Okay, so let's invite Wei Feng to continue our presentation. Thank you.
I'm glad to be here and have this opportunity to present you our research and economics of earthquake prediction.
Could you present yourself, please?
I'm Zhong Weifeng from the University of Hong Kong, and my colleague Zhao Jiuqi from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Actually, first of all, I would like to introduce you 2 very interesting remarks concerning earthquake prediction. Someone argues that if you really want to shock your friends in the next coffee break, if any, or the buffet lunch we will have, you can make an earthquake prediction and try to be 100% correct. But some scientists respond to this argument that if they actually mention earthquake prediction in their proposal, that may guarantee that they cannot get the funding. So it's actually very puzzling that in the sense that for a long history, we have a large number of earthquake predictors trying to make his prediction correct. And on the other hand, we also have a committee in many countries like China and the United States, which is supposed to evaluate the precision of the predictions made to them. But the puzzle is, under this long history of the discipline, we do not yet obtain a big progress in the earthquake prediction. Why? This is actually the problem we are planning to address in this paper. So concerning that, there is a sequential nature of the relation between the predictor and a committee. So we use a game theory model to address this problem and to present you the timing of the game. Since the happening of an earthquake is really uncertain to us, it is determined by the nature, but we have no idea whether it will happen or not for sure. So we can just have a prior belief on the happening of each earthquake. But we assume that there exists some guys under the sun who have access to some projects which will generate some signal foretelling us whether the earthquake will happen or not. We call them predictor. But we assume that the precision of their prediction made is subject to the effort level exerted by those predictors. If he exerts full effort, then it can generate some degree of precision of their prediction. But in any way, the predictor should submit their prediction to a committee which can later verify the precision of the prediction. Here we also assume that whether the committee can verify the precision of the prediction is also subject to the effort made by the committee members. And in the end of the game, the committee should report to the government whether they trust this predictor or not. And at the end of the game, everyone will observe whether the earthquake has come or not. So this leads us to the payoff function of the predictor and also the committee. We assume that besides the effort made by these two parties, their utility also depends on the for the side of predictor, the precision of the prediction, and for the side of the committee, whether their opinion submitted to the government is right or wrong. So this is basically the setup of the game, and if we work out the game, then an equilibrium can be found. This is shown in this graph. We have actually a unique equilibrium in the game, depending on the value of alpha, which is the potential ability of the predictor. We have two remarks here. First one is, actually we have a stagnation of the discipline at the very beginning. The point is, if we assume that predicting earthquake is a learning by doing process at the very beginning, the ability of those predictors is fairly low, then we will be in this stage. And in this case, the predictor may not be willing to predict an earthquake. And the second finding is that during all three stages, the committee is actually not performing. They do not make effort to verify the precision of the prediction. So this explains the status quo we have today. And next, we would like to introduce two possible incentive schemes which may improve the efficiency in this equilibrium. Firstly, we will introduce a peer review system for the committee but not for the predictor. The point is, if the committee has the ability to verify the precision of each prediction, then those scientists outside the committee but with the similar knowledge with the committee members, then they should have the ability to investigate whether those committee members have exert effort or not. So this is addressing the problem in the downstream. And second, we introduce the incentive for the predictor to make an accurate precision and confirmed also by the committee. If we can guarantee that the committee members make full effort, then we should provide incentive for the predictor to have their prediction confirmed by the committee if the prediction is correct. So this is actually addressing the upstream of this whole structure. With these two possible schemes, we are expecting that we can in the future address the parceling issue that we have today. Thank you.